In this video I'm going to be showing you guys how I painted Little Misfortune. I start with loosely mapping out the drawing with watercolour pencil. I use watercolour pencil because it gets like the lines evaporate, I guess, or they, well, not really evaporate, but they dilute and disappear when I add other colours over them. So if you don't want any visible line work afterwards, that's how I do it anyways. I usually start from the background and work my way up from that. I find that it just makes less, awkward white gaps and spacing if you do want to have a solid color background. I did use some pretty durable paper for this. I think it was like 300 GSM watercolor paper. So that's why I didn't tape it down like I usually do. But as I was doing this, I realized that it still warps a little, so it makes the later steps a little bit more awkward when the paper is a bit warped. I tried not to overwork the background, so it's just basically a base tone, and then I went on to a face where I kind of layered it a lot more because I find that when I add line work to my paintings, it doesn't really, like the texture that I've added doesn't really become as noticeable, I guess. So because of that, I definitely tried to push some of the boundaries with her shapes. As I was working through this painting, I was really happy with the textures I was getting from the watercolor. So because of that, I decided to start adding some lighter, like other colors, I guess, to see if they would all kind of complement each other. So with her hair, I went a little bit unicorny, I guess. I'm not really too sure how else you could call it, but I thought these would be tones that would be flattering to everything that's going around with her. If you guys haven't played the game already, it's called Little Misfortune, and it's, yeah, I feel like the base tone for her hair is pretty fitting. She's a very creative character. I find watercolor to be really rewarding with layering, but obviously you don't want to damage the paper too much, so you just got to make sure that when you are layering that you're letting it dry as well at the same time. If your paper is wet, the paint will spread there as well. So it's really cool textures you can get from letting that happen, but you might want to stay a little bit in shape with the original design that you have. You can start noticing that the skin tone that I had for her isn't as visible now because of the darker tones in her hair that I've put in. But that happens, like I said before. I still think that we got a good, nice texture from the layering that we have done. I think her skin tone still looks pretty accurate to the original character. So this was a pretty exciting project for me. Not only is it because I love the topic, because like I said, the game is really quite quirky and Killmonday games always produce awesome stuff. But also I did a lot of mixed mediums with this. So not only did I use watercolor palettes, but I also used black ink pens. I think I used the brown one instead, just to give it a bit more earthy tone. And then I also used a lot of color pencil to bring out those highlights that I had put in before, so like the earlier stages of the hair. So I kind of pulled them back out with the color pencil. Then on top of that, I also used, I think a black pen for the hairline, so like the hair strands, as well as some white highlighter ink. I think gems. I think just like some random gems I've had in my drawer for I don't even know how long, and gold leafing. So it was my first time trying gold leafing. I definitely have a long way to go, but I think it added something really cool to this painting as well. Equipment will be posted underneath the video. If you guys have any questions about any of the stuff that I've used or how it worked together, feel free to ask. I personally think that it went really well. So I was really happy with all these different mediums working out for me. As you can kind of see, I definitely have a long way to go when it comes to gold leafing, but I was really happy with the overall picture for this one. I know that I'm jumping too far ahead right now, but I'm just looking at it as I'm talking over it, and it's just really exciting to see the process of the gold leafing right now. I did add some glitter over the top too, and I did put some white dots in there to try and try and break up the texture or something. I don't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of trying something because I've never really done sparkles before. So you might have noticed a white piece of paper that had popped into the frame a couple of times. Basically I tried to what is it? What would you describe it? I tested the gold leafing. I wanted to try and get like a glob of glue, hot glue, and put the gold leaf inside of it. And I was hoping that the glue would dry clear, but it dried a lot more murkier than I would have liked. So you couldn't really see the gold, sadly. So instead, I settled for just lumps of gold leaf in the frame, and you know, it worked because of the background already had the yellow tone, so it's not, you know, too odd and out of place, but it is definitely something that I need to work on. Gold leafing was very fiddly and very hard for me to try and wrap my head around, but I really enjoyed the whole process and I was really happy with the finished result. So yeah, hopefully you guys like it as much as I do. I really love this little painting that I did. And I guess that's really it. If you guys, again, have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and a huge thank you again to my Patreon supporters. Thank you for believing in me and letting me continue doing all this awesome stuff. Bye guys!